Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we want to say hello to you. Going to connect with our friends over on Instagram so they can be a part of our conversation today. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon so I can introduce you guys to our next guest. I've had an opportunity to interview her on Conversations Live, the radio show, but she's making her first on-camera appearance with us here on Amazon Live, so I'm very excited about that. And we're now live on Amazon Live for Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. Glad you guys could join us on Amazon.com. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button, either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the newest book by our next guest. So excited to welcome best-selling author Rouda to our broadcast today. Kaira's celebrating her newest book called Jill Is Not Happy. You guys can see it here in the carousel. You can get it in print or the Kindle edition. I want to talk to Kaira not only about the writing of the book, but also what it's been like for her to see the response from her readers, those who have been with her over the years, but also new readers. And of course, we'll let you guys know how to stay connected with her as well. Kaira, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, so excited to be here with you and to see you in person finally.
There you go. There you go. You know, I had one author tell me, Kaira, she's like, "You're real." And I was like, that's right. When you don't see people, when you're just used to using, the audio, using the phone, it totally is a different experience. Let me first say it's been a joy being able to interview you over the years for the radio show. So excited though to talk to you about the new book. What has it been like for you to see the success of Jill Is Not Happy, Kaira?
Oh, it's been amazing, Cyrus. It's I just hit the USA Today bestseller list for the second week in a row with Jill Is Not Happy, and it's just kind of, I'm still like flabbergasted. Actually, I'm so thankful to the readers and librarians and the bookstores. I just got off a 3-week tour and I have more to come, but it's been amazing just to be out and seeing people and meeting readers, and it's been great.
Well, you are one of those authors that I've always enjoyed reading. I was messing with you, though, before we went live here. I've enjoyed reading your book. I have not read all of your books, and I didn't find out until I was prepping for this segment. They actually have over 20 books out there. So I still have some catching up to do, Kaira, for sure. But what has it been like for you from book to book to give us characters that are in many ways relatable, but also we almost can't turn away from them because of the situations you put your characters into?
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of a fan of unreliable narrators, and Jill Is Not Happy is, I guess, has two of them, Jack and Jill, a married couple. I also really love marriage thrillers. I think I've written several of them now, and I think other people like them too, because when you read Jack and Jill's story, it makes you think, wow, at least I'm not them.
Right.
It's it's some kind of escape in that fun, but also hopefully a fun read.
Yeah, and it definitely is fun. And I think too, I love the fact, as someone who's a single guy, I enjoy the marriage thrillers because it's like, you know what? No, I'm good, right? Right. No,
That's a good that's a good point too.
right.
Yeah, maybe
In
you're
my
just
situation, like, yeah, maybe single life's not that bad, but no. In all seriousness, what I love about the books like this that you've written is that it shows that all that glitters is not gold, right? But that even sometimes there are things going on that we don't even realize, that are going on with couples. And sometimes the couples themselves don't know is even happening with their partner. Is that part of the fun for you too, of being able to show the different layers of the characters you give us?
Yeah, it really is. I've always been fascinated by what is beneath the surface of seemingly perfect lives. And that's kind of the theme that goes through all my stories.
Mhm.
Because I think, and whether it's as a couple or just in society in general, we're all kind of putting up a little bit of facades. Not everything we show on social media is exactly true, or we're going to, make sure that we put our best foot forward, when inside that might be a different story. And so my characters are like that as well. Jill would like to believe that she has the perfect marriage and that she and Jack, since they're college sweethearts, they will be together forever. And that's really all she wants. And Jack has other ideas when the story opens.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where the fun for us as readers, maybe not so much for Gio, but fun for us as readers begin. How is it, do you find it, I'll call it a beautiful challenge, Kaira. Do you find it a beautiful challenge to kind of slip into the skin of the characters? Because a lot of times, like in this situation, you're able to kind of help us to actually look at the world through these characters' eyes. What is it like for you to kind of become them and kind of see how they navigate the world you put them in?
Yeah, it's really fun and also a little terrifying at times. So
Yeah.
when I'm writing, and I've had this happen a couple times with Jill when I was writing, my process is I'm a pantser, so that means writing by the seat of your pants or the story developing as you write. And so sometimes I'll be writing, let's say from Jill's point of view, and she will do something I didn't know was coming. So I will like close my laptop and hurry downstairs and take a break from her because
Wow.
sometimes they do things that scare me. But it is, I think you kind of have to immerse yourself in the characters to make them come to life. At least I do on the page.
Love that. And along the way, as I mentioned, even from book to book, you've not only been able to keep your readers coming back, but also pick up new readers. Could you have imagined when this journey began for you as a published author, Kira, that you would be able to have the fan base that you have, but also the loyalty from readers that you have?
It's just, it really is a dream come true. This writing careers, it's my fourth or fifth act, and it was always the dream. So to have the interaction with readers and to be able to, like I said, I went on book tour for the first time in a really long time, and to get to meet people in person at the bookstore and meet the bookstore owners, it really is. You think of writing as being a pretty solitary career, and it is. You're most of the time in your office writing, in my case, a little bit creepy characters, and then you go out in the world and to see the response. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to go back to what I mentioned earlier because, I mean, when you kind of think about the amount of books you may be able to write, but also the successes as the industry looks at them, like with this book, being on the bestsellers list. Talk to us about that experience. Do you still have the wow moments, Kira, when you look at your career and what you've been able to achieve?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think my whole perspective on this publishing and writing journey is that it's the long game and it's about resilience. And I know we've talked about it before because you just don't know if your book is, once it leaves your office and goes to the editor, you don't know whether readers are going to respond, whether people are going to like it, whether something in the world happens and everything shuts down. For example, my book that came out in the middle of the pandemic called Somebody's Home, and nobody really wanted to read a book called Somebody's Home in the middle of pandemic world. You just don't know, and I think the thing I've learned and is that you just keep going and hope for the best. So when the magic happens and like the USA Today bestseller list happens, you just have to sit there and be so grateful and thankful, and I am.
Mm. Do I, writing the book, and I'm so glad that you mentioned this earlier because it made me think about something from the book that as we're able to get to know, of course, the book is called Jill is Not Happy, but we do get to know Jack as well. Jack is, I think both of them would be called beautifully flawed in many respects. But what was it like for you writing Jack and kind of having Jack's unhappiness shared too? I'll put it that way, but also him being open about his own mistakes and discussing those.
Yeah, I like Jack. I like both Jackie and Jill as characters, and even though they are unreliable, and some people will find some of their choices questionable, but
Yeah.
Jack was fun to write because he really is just trying to do the best thing. He's a good dad to their daughter Maggie.
Mhm.
He it has pretty much found himself trapped in a marriage that he does not want to be in any longer, and he's trying to figure the best way out. And he agrees at the beginning of the story to go on a road trip with Jill for like one last hurrah to the Utah national parks, and he in his mind thinks that this will be like a softer ending to the whole relationship, and unbeknownst to him, Jill is never going to let him go. At least that's her plan. So
Yeah.
it's fun for me because I think both characters have to be strong enough to carry the story.
Mhm.
So hopefully they're balanced enough in that respect.
Yeah. I read a line once, Kira, and it stays with me. And I thought about it when I was reading Jill Is Not Happy. And the line was, farther than I meant to go, longer than I meant to stay. And I thought to myself, that could be Jack's tagline. it, in many respects. And I think if we're honest, a lot of us have been in those moments, right? I love the fact that you talk about the other plants because I think we kind of are able to see as the story kind of unfolds that, again, that it's obvious they're not on the same page as to what they're expecting from each other. But I think again, as us as readers, that really um, it's so easy to relate to because we all have kind of been there. What is it like for you, Kira, in your career, and in what you do as an author in particular, to show it's okay to ask questions? It's okay to to want to know what's best for me, and not always do something just for someone else. And I'm asking you that question because I'm thinking about, especially in a story like Jill is Not Happy, but also others you've written, that a lot of times the flaw is that you're thinking about others more so than you think about yourself. Either the way that you think people will perceive you, or what your failure would look like if this doesn't work or if this doesn't happen. What is that like for you to kind of show in these relationships you craft?
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I do find myself trying to have empowered women, even if they're flawed empowered women, because it to me, a strong character who stands up for her choices and carries forward, it's kind of unique to see. And I think that's a redeeming quality, even if the character is a little creepy. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I think too that's why with Jack having a strong father-daughter bond, we don't maybe see that as often in thrillers as well. And it was kind of important to me that he had that dynamic going for him. So I think strong characters working in opposition is really fun to watch, and as long as they have some redeeming qualities as well, we'll
Right.
keep rooting for them.
Such a great thing, and I think readers will as well. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents on Amazon.com, but we are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. I appreciate the hearts over there on Amazon, as well as you guys joining us on YouTube. If you guys have any questions or comments for Kaira, make sure you guys put those in the comment section. Best-selling author Kaira Rouda is joining us today. Kaira is celebrating her newest book called Jill is Not Happy, as she was just talking about already. Another bestseller, not only here on Amazon, but also making the charts as well. We're going to also let you guys know how to stay connected with Kaira as well. Kaira, one of the things that you've been able to do, and you were doing this during the pandemic too, is the way you use platforms like Instagram. Talk to us about that, what it's been like for you to build that online presence and connect with the world basically through your platforms that way.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And actually, one of the things that has helped with that a lot is I started something called the Killer Author Club. And we are live every other Tuesday, and we host other thriller authors. And it's been a great way. It started during the pandemic when, as I mentioned, somebody's home came out. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? And I reached out to two other authors, Kimberly Bell and Heather Gudenkoff, and we started the Killer Author Club. And it's been going since 2022. And it's been amazing to be able to interview like you do. You're much better at it than we are, but we're trying and have these legends in the thriller industry on our podcast, but also a new way to connect with readers. And it's really been fun to build a platform that we can share, like the three of us, but also just have that direct connection every other Tuesday on a platform like this, which has been fun. But yeah, social media, it's amazingly, you can look at it as time consuming, but I guess the way I look at it is it truly is a way to connect with readers and with the comments and everything else. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's one of those things I tell people. It's one of those necessary evils that we have now, and it's a great tool, when used correctly. I think, to keep people connected. You just said something, and I wasn't even going to mention this to you, but you just, because you said it, and of course it's on the book, that this is a thriller, and you just talked about thriller authors. I have, in my years of doing this, I'm dating myself here, Kira, but in my years of doing this, I've always hesitated in putting labels on authors and people, because I feel like, I a lot of times people have in their mind their preconceived notion of what something may be. Has it been easy for you to embrace that, of being seen as a thriller author? Is that something that's been easy for you to embrace?
It has. I don't mind that label at all. I mean, you're right, because I don't want people to think that it's, I guess, like a crime with detective. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different subgenres within the
Hmm.
crime genre,
Right.
but hopefully people know what a marriage thriller might set up to be.
Hmm.
The one that I don't like so much is the women's fiction label, because I feel
Yeah.
like all fiction is women's fiction. Women are the majority of the readers and book
Yeah.
buyers out there. So that's
Yeah.
the one that I kind of go, you know, that,
Right. Right.
but it's just kind of fiction. So they don't have a men's fiction category. So,
Yeah.
but I enjoy the thriller. The thriller is a great category for me to be in.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, again, as you mentioned, and that's why I said, for myself, because especially because I do read a lot of books every year. For me, it's like I just kind of ask people, what are some of the topics you're interested in? And that's kind of how I decide on how to remind people. Like, if you're looking for relatable, crazy characters, like, yes, Jill is Not Happy is a great book. you know, look, hey, look, whether you're married or not, you're just like, what's going on with these people? I mean, I had those moments in this book, Kira. I thought to myself, wow, but then I have to think about my own self and think, you know what? I have some pretty crazy things about me too, So I love that the people can read a book like this, have fun with it, but also you find yourself talking about it because it is so real. Do you feel like that's kind of the sign for you at this point in your career, Kira, that you've done, quote unquote, your job, that people are talking about these characters like they're real people and can kind of talk to you about the things about them that really stood out to them?
Yeah, that's been really fun on book tour. I was just in New Jersey, I guess, just a couple days ago, and
Mhm.
this woman comes running into the event. She's like, "That Jill! Oh my gosh, I can't get her out of my head!" And that's fun for me. It's
Yeah.
also fun for Jill, who's also still in my head. So she's
Mm.
like, my Jill is going, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that." I do think that's the fun when you get to have readers read your book, and then they actually give you more insight to the characters, because as you're writing, she's internal. But then once she's out in the world in a book form and somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I enjoyed this about her," or "I pictured her doing this," that
Mhm.
makes it all come to life again.
Yeah. I want to turn the conversation just a bit, Kara, and talk about your connection with other authors. You mentioned, of course, your own platform, how you use that to kind of give a voice to authors. But you also are one of those authors that are part of what I consider that author support system that's there to help other authors too. What has that been like for you to be able to use what you've learned in your career to be able to help those that are either getting started in their own career or are thinking about entering their career as an author?
Yeah, that's the best part too. I mean, and trying to help other people, and making people realize too that the best way to start a writing career is just to start writing. That's
Mhm.
the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. I think a lot of people have the dream of being a writer, but then I'll say, "So what have you written?" And they'll say, "Well, no, I just have some ideas." Like, okay,
Right.
the first step is to go ahead and write that story. And and I think a lot of self-doubt comes into play. I remember when I was writing my first book, you just don't know, will it ever go anywhere? But the only way to find out is to get that book finished, and then you've got something to work with, and you can go back and second guess it along the way. But yeah, it's great. I love it when authors reach out, or debut authors, and have me read their book for a blurb. That's really an honor.
You mentioned something, so I have to ask you about this because if not, I'll be asked why I didn't ask you.
Okay.
You mentioned about Jill still being in your head. Does that mean you might revisit her in the future?
I never say never. My first like breakthrough book, which that's the first time we talked, was Best Day Ever. And Paul Strom is a pretty strong character, and he was rolling around in my head. I never thought I would have a chance to have him come back, and he actually did last year with the two sequels to him called The Second Mrs. Strom and What the Nanny Saw. So
Mhm.
those were really fun. And even after 7 years of not writing Paul, as soon as I started writing him, he was right there. And now Jill is kind of a similar character. She's definitely on the top of my mind still. So, if someone said to me, let's do another Jill book, I'd love that.
Well, there you have it. I did my job. I asked the question, and I appreciate you answering. Again, everyone, best-selling author Kaira Rouda has been our guest. Her new book is Jill Is Not Happy. It's available here on Amazon. You all can get it in print or the Kindle edition as well. So make sure you guys do add it to your reading list. It's perfect for the summertime, no matter where you may live. Kara, really glad to have you back on with us. How can our audience stay connected with you?
It's so good to be with you, Cyrus. I am on Instagram, Kara Ruda, Facebook, Kara Ruda Books. My website is kararuda.com. So I'm pretty easy to find.
right. Well, looking forward to our next chat together and looking forward to having you back on with us.
Thank you. I can't wait.
All right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.